Hey y'all, it is I, Anthony the Canadian Guy, and welcome to Wrestlesode, where we put the creative back in wrestling. Wrestlesode is the newest member of the Win Column Sports Network family, so a big shout out and thank you to the Win Column Sports Network. As all of you know, I am a huge fan of the local independent Alberta wrestling scene, and alongside the Win Column Sports Network, I will now be able to continue to grow and promote and showcase the amazing talents that we have here in Alberta. So be ready to see a lot more cool, amazing things that I will get to do alongside the Win Column Sports Network over the next little while. So keep an eye out for that. And give a big follow and thank you to the Win Column Sports Network. If you want to support Wrestlesode, by the way, you guys can like and subscribe to this podcast on whatever podcast app you're listening to this on. We're on any major podcast app. It also helps out the show immensely if you left us a 5-star rating or review, or just told a friend. All of these things go a long way to helping out Wrestlesode. So thank you very much. And good news. Today we are starting a brand new series here on Wrestlesode, and it is called Gim-Mix, where I will take two different gimmicks and I will mix them together and form a brand new wrestler. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be using their names or what they look like or even necessarily their personality, but I will mix the two different wrestlers, be it male, female, tag team, or faction, because the random generator that I have is going to give me anything. I will have to mix them together to the best of my ability and create just something brand new and fantastic. We'll come up with a new name, whether or not they're good or bad, maybe give them a little bit of a backstory. But essentially, we will take two different wrestlers and we create one wrestler. So I have here my random generator. So we will start it off. Like I said, this has males, females, tag teams, or factions across multiple promotions. And these are all current active wrestlers right now. But in the future, we can do stuff with retired and past wrestlers. You know, let's say the Attitude Era or like a WCW only one. Or maybe we'll just do like all mid 80s and 90s, like Japanese wrestling, like All Japan and New Japan, like Great Baba versus Antonio Inoki, and we'll create Antonio Baba. Or no, we won't do that. That's an example of something we won't do. So let's see who our first wrestler is going to be now that I have gone through that entire spiel. The New Day. So not any one specific member. Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston form the New Day. So the personality that I'm thinking here, obviously very bubbly, very happy. And let's see what we can mix the New Day with. We have, I'm just writing the New Day down here. We have Mia Yim. Mia Yim. Okay, so obviously of NXT, very awesome. Let's see, how do you mix Mia Yim, who's kind of got this like very like streets of LA kind of gangstery, but like good gangstery vibe that is Mia Yim, and mix that with the New Day. So the New Day, obviously, very happy, bubbly personas. We are going to create a male wrestler here who I think is going to be kind of like a street thug turned really happy person. We're going to call them Maxwell Dayson. Maxwell Dayson. All right, so Maxwell Dayson obviously grew up in the streets of Los Angeles. Hard life, not easy. You got to kind of grow up on the streets. You got to be tough. You got to fight your own battles. Except, one day Maxwell Dayson, though growing up on the streets, has decided that he's going to be bringing happiness into people's lives. So one day he randomly shows up at like the local hangout spot, probably the steps to some sort of courthouse. That's what we're going to call the hangout spot here for Maxwell Dayson. So his friends are all there and he shows up and he's just like, guys, I want to show that everything is going to be really awesome in the world if you can just smile, if you can just lend your happiness to other people. So they start going out and they like form a group, like a happy group of people who just go around and compliment people and just try to make people smile on a day-to-day basis. When they run into a brand new wrestler, let's create them as well. We'll create a feud for Maxwell Dayson, who is the mixture of the New Day and Mia Yim. Let's see who he runs into. A mixture of the Ascension. Okay, so Connor and Victor, obviously that makes up the Ascension. So, like really gruff, aggressive, territorial. This is actually working out kind of well against Maxwell Dayson here. And who do we mix with the Ascension? We have Baron Corbin. Okay, so that's actually kind of awesome. Baron Corbin. Okay, so I can kind of think of this person already. So very mean, very aggressive, territorial guy who thinks he's the best, obviously. Somebody who thinks they're very important. We got to name this person. Someone who is like a street tough or like territorial and aggressive and confident and cocky. We're going to call this person Jefferson. I'm really bad at coming up with wrestling names right now. Jefferson Star Cruiser. Okay, so Jefferson Star Cruiser's got the coolest name in the world. But essentially, he's a mixture of the Ascension and Baron Corbin. So Maxwell Dayson sees Jefferson Star Cruiser on the street, and he goes up to him, and he just wants to compliment him. So he goes up and he says, "Man, you're really tall. That must be incredibly convenient in certain situations, though potentially inconvenient in others. You have a really cool look, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day." Because Maxwell Dayson, what a happy, awesome, positive guy. Jefferson Star Cruiser, on the other hand, looks at him and says, "Who are you? I didn't give you permission to talk to me. What are you doing randomly talking to people on the street? What are you, some sort of weirdo or something? This is my street. Like, you're not allowed here. This is mine, and where me and my group of toughs come in." And of course, like a gang of people show up behind Jefferson Star Cruiser, and he's like, "We're called the Starship Brigade." Stupidest street toughs ever. So he's like, "We're the Starship Brigade. My name is Jefferson Star Cruiser. And you have to get out of my way and get out of here." And Maxwell Dayson's like, whoa, calm down, buddy. I'm just here trying to spread love and happiness. And I'm just trying to give the message that everybody should smile. And with that, Jefferson Star Cruiser punches Maxwell Dayson right in the mouth. And that's where the feud starts. So obviously this is going to be some sort of street fight here between Jefferson Star Cruiser and Maxwell Dayson. So that's where that feud would go. This is kind of fun. I've already liked this. So we've created a very happy street guy who's like trying to just spread happiness when he runs into just like a jerk. I want to use more aggressive words, but I can't. And we have obviously Maxwell Dayson versus Jefferson Star Cruiser. So that was our very first feud and 2 randomly generated people. Let's try again, shall we? Let's see who else we can mix together. Let's see. The first person is Trent Beretta. Okay, so Trent Beretta, 1/2 of Best Friends, or I guess you could say 1/3 of Best Friends now because they have Orange Cassidy in it. Really great intro theme and video package, and I really like his look. He's obviously the most fit of the 3 of them, I guess you could say, and he had a lot of success, obviously, in New Japan as well. And let's see who we mix with. Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy. I swear I didn't actually do that. That just happens to be who he was randomly generated to go with. So another 1/3 of Best Friends. How do you mix Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy together? Okay, so Orange Cassidy obviously wears sunglasses, very chill. His hands are in his pocket all the time. Trent Beretta is also pretty cool and chill, but like he wears a lot of jean jackets or a lot of denim. So imagine a new gentleman. We're going to create, I wrote the name Trenta Beretta. We're going to create a brand new name here for the mix of Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy, and we're going to call them Ripley Marston. Why do I suck at names? Ripley Marston, where it's already the name. That's such a stupid name. We're going to change this name to, again, we're going to call him Mario the Hammer Jefferson. I've already used Jefferson. Well, okay, so names obviously are not my strong suit. So we'll come back to the name. Let's start building the character, though. Okay, so think of a Trent Beretta-esque character. Obviously wears sunglasses, very chill, hangs out against the wall. He's very casual, laid back kind of guy. You can't really bother this guy. This guy who, you know what? I'm going to use a random name generator. Wait, random wrestling name generator. That's actually a thing. We're going to just use a random wrestling name generator so I can stop using horrible names. Wrestling name generator. All right. Well, there's a couple of ones here. I'm going to get some male names. There's Birdman, Thundercrack, kind of like Thundercrack, Mr. Indestructible. These are the worst wrestling names ever, but we'll go with it. So we're going to call this guy named Damon Grimes. DaemonGrimes. So Damon Grimes is the name of this Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy, like super chill, laid back, buff guy who's just very chill. And let's mix two other people together. Hopefully someone who I could say slightly more evil. That would be the word I would want to use. Brock Lesnar. Okay, well, that's a good one. That's a great way to start. Brock Lesnar. And who do you mix Brock Lesnar with? Sheamus. Okay. Well, I can already tell you that this person's going to be a lot more of the aggressive type. So we have Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta mixed to create a person by the name of Damon Grimes. And now we have Brock Lesnar and Sheamus. Okay, so Brock Lesnar, everybody knows who he is. Mr. MMA, Mr. Universal WWE Champion, Mr. Casual, I guess you could say. But very strong, very intimidating, kind of like a gatekeeper in the WWE to the very top of the card. Like, beating Brock Lesnar basically makes you the superhero of WWE. Sheamus used to be kind of that person as well. A 4-time WWE champion, unfortunately has some problems with his neck right now and is off on injury leave, which is very depressing because I really like Sheamus. But what do you mix Brock and Sheamus? So you got like a very strong Celtic guy. Sheamus is already the Celtic warrior, and Brock Lesnar is the beast. So we have like a Celtic beast. So what are some Irish fantasy creatures? Let's see what they have in Ireland. I don't even know. Leprechaun. The Banshee is obviously really big. The Sloch. Oh my god, I do not know how to pronounce most of these. Obviously from like things like the Finn Balor promo that he gave just before SummerSlam 2016. I know how to, some of these, like the Doulahan. All right, the Puka, the Changeling, the Clurikin, which looks like a leprechaun, but more like a pirate leprechaun. What is Irish fantasy creatures? Okay, well, we'll just make it up anyways. We'll call him the Leprechaun Slayer. I'm not using this website for random name generators because that was just really, it was just saying like nouns. It wasn't actually giving me names. Male list of names. Okay, so we're going to call him Curtis the Leprechaun, even though he's not small at all, Morgan. So Curtis the Leprechaun Morgan, and there's Damon Grimes. So the Leprechaun, that's what they call him though. So the Leprechaun is walking backstage and he's pissed, right? Like he's incredibly angry. His long red mohawk that goes all the way to his ears, because it's a very short-haired mohawk. We'll just say that it's like a short-haired mohawk. So Curtis Morgan is running around backstage. He's like pissed, just looking for anybody. And obviously Damon Grimes just chilling against the wall, his foot up, his glasses on, and everybody's like running around him, but he's just sitting there. He's not doing anything. He's just chewing gum. He's just being very casual, and the Leprechaun's like just like wreaking havoc and yelling backstage, just trying to like find somebody to beat up. And he sees Damon Grimes just sitting up against the wall. And like obviously like refs and backstage hands and producers, everybody's just running for their lives right now because like, the Leprechaun is huge. Dude's like 6'6". He's like 300 pounds. Like he's just massive. As where Damon Grimes, he's probably like 6'1". He's probably like 230. But he's very casual. He's still a big buff guy. But compared to the Leprechaun, it's like nothing. So the Leprechaun sees Damon Grimes and he goes up to him and he's just like, I don't know. They just start fighting. The Leprechaun throws his first like fist, and just like Damon Grimes just kind of like just casually moves to the side, and he like misses. And like every time the Leprechaun tries to like barely like go after Damon Grimes, he just misses. And like it looks very casual for Damon Grimes. Did you ever watch The Matrix? You remember that scene where Neo is fighting Agent Smith, and he's just doing everything with like one hand? It's kind of like that. It's like where you see the Leprechaun just trying everything, and Damon Grimes is just being casual with one hand. And until like Curtis Morgan just gets pissed, and he just like goes and puts his fist through the wall and like walks away. He's so angry because he couldn't hit Damon Grimes. Damon Grimes just sits back against the wall, puts his foot up, and that's that story. Damon Grimes is just so cool, man. I love Orange Cassidy's character. It's great. I would say he got offense in, but he really didn't. He was just chill the whole time. All right, so we've had Maxwell Dason versus Jefferson Starcruiser, and we've had Damon Grimes versus Curtis the Leprechaun Morgan. I like this so far. Okay, let's try to make another one. Who's our next character going to be? We have Jimmy Havoc. Ooh, okay, the King of the Death Match. He has such a cool look working inside AEW. I really love Jimmy Havoc. And okay, and who do we mix with Jimmy Havoc? We have Matt Jackson, one half of the Young Bucks. Hold on, Matt Jackson, the older brother. So how do you mix Matt Jackson and Jimmy Havoc? Okay, well, let's just say it's going to be a very high-fly deathmatch type person. But we need a really cool name for them. We need something that's like befitting of a Jimmy Jackson, Matt Havoc kind of thing. Who do we want to call it? I've got. I just brought up a list of people here. Ooh, I like some of these names. Okay. Okay, we're gonna call him Tyler the Surgeon, because you got to have like a the something, and King. So his name is Tyler the Surgeon King. So Tyler King, smaller guy. Let's say he's like 5'8", 5'9", kind of a skinnier guy. Always really enjoyed wrestling. He's been wrestling since he was a teenager. Grew up in his backyard, had a wrestling ring. But not only that, he also really loved emo music, man. He was a huge fan of like Jimmy Eat World. You know what I mean? He's a big fan of that scene. That's what I want to say. That scene, like goth emo scene. But he also really loved wrestling. So he found himself, whenever he would perform in wrestling, flying off the top rope and, like putting thumbtacks through like his back and stuff. Like, dude loves death matches. He always thinks that the bigger he can get a reaction out of the crowd based on what he can do to his body, the better. So he's got this really cool high fly, death defying type of, wrestling style, kind of like a Darby Allin in that regard. So we have Tyler the Surgeon King. And of course he's the surgeon because everything he does is magically precise, or like just super precise. And he is going to be up against the Gim-Mixing of Finn Balor. Ooh, all right. My favorite wrestler in the entire world currently, Finn Balor, mixed with Samoa Joe. Okay. All right. I really like this. The guy who lost the NXT championship to the other guy. So Finn Balor, so cool. Like, this guy just oozes charisma. Like, he's a great heel. He's a great face. He's a better heel. Dude is amazing. Absolutely love Finn Balor. Samoa Joe, too. Man, what a talker, right? That whole promo that he had alongside AJ, when he was reading him the bedtime book, or when he was standing outside AJ Styles' house, and he's like, Daddy's home. Freaking love these guys. All right, so how do we mix Finn Balor and Samoa Joe together? Heck, they were even NXT Dusty Road Tag Team Champions, or Dusty Classic Tag Team Champions. So, or Dusty Classic Champions, whatever. What do we mix them? How do we mix Finn Balor and Samoa Joe together? Well, let's pull up some names. We need some really cool names. So Finn Balor is the Demon King. Samoa Joe doesn't really have a title. I don't think this person needs a title. I think they just need a really cool name. And I think this person's name has got to be Scott Henderson. That's not a cool name. Okay, let's change that. Scott Hall. No, that's already a person. Scott Martin. There you go. Scott Martin. So Scott Martin is a very cool guy. I would say he's not the biggest high flyer in the world, though he can do some pretty cool moves. He's definitely a talker. So imagine a Finn Balor Samoa Joe talker. So you've got the surgeon in Tyler King, and then you've got Scott Martin. So these guys are getting into a feud. So Scott Martin proclaims himself to be the coolest and the best in the world, obviously. He's in the ring, and he's talking about just how good he is. And he's got the crowd behind him, right? Like, even if he's a heel, you got the crowd behind him. People are cheering for him. Some people are booing, obviously. You know what, kayfabe, but he does such a great job on the mic. People are just captivated. When suddenly the surgeon's music, Tyler King's music, the surgeon, I should say, because that's his nickname, his music hits, and he comes to the ring. Obviously, coming to Like a Surgeon by Weird Al Yankovic. His version for Like a Virgin by Madonna, whatever. So he comes to the ring with Like a Surgeon, and he's talking about how that's such a weird thing if he wants to be an emo. That doesn't really work, but whatever. He's going to come up to Like a Surgeon. Comes out to the ring and he says, "You think you're the best, but I've been doing this my whole life, and I have reckless abandon. I don't care about myself. You care about yourself. You think you're the best, which means that you'll never put yourself in a position where you could fall from grace. I would never put myself into that position because I don't fall from grace. I have nothing to lose, which makes me a better wrestler than you." Scott Martin hates this. So he challenges Tyler, the Surgeon King, to a match. And it's a very cool mix of styles. You've got a kind of high fly powerhouse in Scott Martin. And of course, you've got like a reckless daredevil in Tyler the Surgeon King. So the match is just fantastic. But it all ends with Scott Martin, I don't know, doing a muscle buster to Tyler King and taking him out of the match, pinning him for 1, 2, 3. So there you go. We got to mix Jimmy Havoc and Matt Jackson versus a Finn Balor Samoa Joe mix. So Tyler the Surgeon King versus Scott Martin. Let's do a couple more of these. I really enjoy this. And we'll go from there. This is pretty fun. It's kind of cool doing a brand new show like this. And I can't wait to do these with like retired wrestlers with like incredibly defined gimmicks. People like Mankind, Stone Cold, The Rock, The Undertaker. None of them are on this list right now. But we'll get there. We definitely will. So let's start up our next person that we will be Gim-Mixing. We have Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick. Obviously, one of the greatest champions to ever hold the 24/7 belt. He's hilarious. The work that he did alongside Ron Killings, aka R-Truth, with that 24/7 championship has put that championship on the map, made it one of my favorite things. And it really proves that Drake Maverick, as a smaller guy, can go big places because I love Drake Maverick. And we mix Drake Maverick with Kevin Owens. Okay. All right. So Kevin Owens, one of my favorite wrestlers. He doesn't really take guff. You know, he's the family man. He's your everyday man, but he doesn't really take guff. He's a prize fighter. He likes to fight. He likes to stand up for himself, and he's pretty cocky. Drake Maverick is also really cocky, but in like a very funny comedic kind of way. So we have to try to create somebody between Kevin Owens and Drake Maverick. I just want to come up with just kind of like a funny name. Maverick is like a horse, and Kevin. So I'm just going to call this person, Bojack, horse person. No, I'm just kidding. We'll just call him Jack Horseman. I like that. Jack Horseman. Not Bojack Horseman, just Jack Horseman. And so that's the mix of Drake Maverick and Kevin Owens. And he is up against a mixture of Nikki Cross. Okay. So Nikki Cross, who's like, the twisted sister of NXT, though she's not in NXT anymore. She's kind of like a lunatic. She's maniacal. I love Nikki Cross. When she was in NXT, she was by far the best women's wrestler. I absolutely love Nikki Cross. And we can mix with Mojo Rawley. Oh my gosh. How do you mix? Okay, well, they're both crazy. So Mojo Rawley obviously has got like that broken Mojo Rawley kind of like shattered mirror gimmick. Nikki Cross obviously is insane as well. So you need somebody who's got like a very, very low sense of sanity between the two of these. So Nikki Cross and Mojo Rawley kind of mix. We need somebody. Let's go back to the wrestling name generator for a female. No, we'll do it with a male again, just because we've already got a male on the other side. Let's see what we can come up with. Vlad Booty Call Bernard is one of the options it gave me. Oh my goodness. Okay. None of these really speak to insanity. No, none of these really. Okay. No, I like this. Ted Python Diaz. We'll just go with Python. So Python, obviously, Ted Diaz, absolutely insane guy. You know, he's very intense. He's always go, 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 but he's walking around constantly just like hitting himself in the head, talking to himself, looking at weird things that just aren't there. Like he looks past you when you're talking to him. Like you try to have a conversation with you and he'll try to hold his own. Sometimes he just goes off in his own weird tangents, but it always feels like he's looking past you. That really pissed off Jack Horseman one day though. Jack Horseman obviously is like a no nonsense, no guff kind of guy. You know, though he is a comedic at times, he's like a fun life of the party. He doesn't really deal with crazy too well. So one day Jack Horseman is having a conversation with the Python Ted Diaz. And Ted Diaz is just not paying attention. Jack Horseman's asking him questions because they're supposed to be a tag team. They're just tagging for the night. And, you know, like Jack Horseman's trying to get the match out of Diaz, but Diaz is just absolutely insane. Just like smacking walls and like pointing at lockers and stuff. And Jack Horseman just like, I ain't having any of this. So they go out and they have this tag match and Jack Horseman's out first and you see like Ted Diaz on the ropes, just like going insane, slapping his head, waiting for his hot tag. Jack Horseman never gives it to him. He doesn't trust Ted Diaz. Dude's crazy. So Jack Horseman, he wins on his own, and that pisses off Ted Diaz. The Python walks into the ring and says, what are you doing? I'm your partner. You're supposed to tag me in. Like, this isn't just the Jack Horseman show. Jack Morrison's like, dude, you're crazy. I can't trust you. There's nothing you can do in this ring that I can't do. So I might as well just win it for the two of us. You're welcome. You get the night off, essentially. So they just start brawling. So, Ted Diaz just gets pissed at that. And like commentary is like, my God, it's the Python and the Horseman. So we have Jack Horseman, who is a mixture of Drake Maverick and Kevin Owens, versus Ted the Python Diaz, which is a mixture of Nikki Cross and Mojo Rawley. So we have 4 people so far. Or 4 feuds so far. Maxwell Dayson, Jefferson Starcruiser, Damon Grimes, Curtis the Leprechaun Morgan, Tyler the Surgeon King, Scott Martin, Jack Horseman, and Ted the Python Diaz. So, that's pretty cool that we've already managed to create 8 different wrestlers. We'll do another set, so we'll have 10 total, and then we'll go back and we'll go through everybody again, and maybe we'll try to put them up in new feuds or something. That'd be kind of cool. So let's try doing this one last time. So the first person that we are going to Gim-Mix is Dana Brooke. Okay, so Dana Brooke, apparently one of the hardest working women in WWE. Apparently she's always like the first person there, the last one to leave. Apparently she makes amazing protein snacks. That's just what I've heard. Anyways, she's very strong. She's got a very cool, like, kind of like New Yorker-y accent. I don't know if it is necessarily from New York, but you've heard the accent. It's very New York-esque. So who do you mix Dana Brooke with? Eric Young. Okay. So Eric Young, formerly of Sanity, currently on the WWE Raw roster, I believe, shaved his head, has one of the coolest gravelly voices ever when he talks like this. I can't do it. So how do you mix Dana Brooke and Eric Young together? Okay, well, so I want to use like Sanity Eric Young, but that's also kind of crazy. But Dana Brooke is more like very fastidious. It seems like she could be very good. Obviously, she was like a secretary or something. Like, I can't remember what that was all for. But she used to also be like Charlotte Flair's sidekick and all this kind of stuff. So she's kind of no nonsense. But Eric Young also kind of a leader. So she's kind of like a no nonsense leadery type. But she's a bit crazy. Like this person runs the show, but they're not all there. You know what I mean? They're kind of weird. But like you kind of respect them. So this person, we're going to make this a female wrestler. And I think that would be the best. So let's try going to see female wrestling names. So we need somebody who's kind of like a Dana Brooke. So hardworking, strong, Eric Young, very respected, tenured, and insane, but really good. We need Anastasia Leroy. So Anastasia Leroy is a mixture of Dana Brooke and Eric Young. Locker room leader kind of thing in the back, though not necessarily at the top of the card. Someone that everybody respects. Everybody can go to them and get their opinion on something. But, one day somebody approaches Anastasia Leroy to ask for their advice. But Anastasia Leroy does not like who we are about to create. Let's see. We have a mixture of Cedric Alexander, which I couldn't understand how you couldn't like Cedric Alexander, and a mixture with Riho. Okay, so Riho, obviously the Joshi wrestler in AEW, the current AEW Women's Champion, absolutely amazing, really great, talented wrestler. And Cedric Alexander, also a really great, talented wrestler. Now, you know what this is? Anastasia Leroy, though they're a locker room leader, they're jealous because a brand new person came in, a mixture of Riho and Cedric Alexander by the name of Tori Suzuki. I like that. Tori Suzuki comes in, and everybody really likes Tori. Tori's super cool, very nice, always smiling, amazing in the ring. A good high flyer, can tell a good story, can sell, can bump, can do everything. Anastasia Leroy, as kind of like the locker room leader, is looking at Tori Suzuki and goes, hey, I'm the person around here. Everybody came and respected me, but since you came in, you've been getting all the smiles, you've been getting all the compliments. People have stopped coming to me, and that's made Anastasia Leroy very, very sour and depressed in the situation. So she sees Tori as a person who's coming in and taking her thunder, and Anastasia Leroy just can't deal with that. So she challenges Tori Suzuki to a match, and it's like a match for the honor of the locker room in the back, for the respect of other people. Who will be the new locker room leader? But you know what? I think Tori Suzuki goes over because Anastasia Leroy totally not cool enough if they're that jealous. Anyways, we'll leave it at that point. So there you go. We've got 10 different wrestlers that we have created using 20 other wrestlers, which is Amazing. So let's go over everybody again. We'll start off the mixture between the New Day and Mia Yim. We created Maxwell Dayson. Maxwell Dayson is kind of like a street thug from the streets of Los Angeles, turned really inspirational, happy person who wants to spread the message of love and happiness with those around them despite their rough beginnings and tough demeanor. We have a mixture between the Ascension and Baron Corbin, where we created a person by the name of Jefferson Starcruiser, which is probably my favorite name that I created here today. Totally doesn't fit the character. Gruff, territorial asshole, essentially. Somebody who just, thinks they're king shit and you can't get in their way. And that is Jefferson Starcruiser. We had the mixture of Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy, which created Damon Grimes, the denim-wearing, casual sunglass bodybuilding type that just is super casual. We also mixed Brock Lesnar and Sheamus to create Curtis the Leprechaun Morgan, who is a massive individual. At least, 6'7", 300 pounds. Someone who, though they're called the Leprechaun, couldn't be farther from the truth. This person is angry and just wants to fight constantly, though quite uncoordinated. That is Curtis the Leprechaun Morgan. Next, we have the mixture of Jimmy Havoc and Matt Jackson creating Tyler, the Surgeon King, who is a high fly, gives no regards for their body, just loves the death match and loves to put their body on the line. Incredible high flyer, top of the card type, putting on 5-star match type person. Next, we also had a mixture between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, creating a person by the name of Scott Martin. Scott Martin can perform high fly moves, but isn't known for that. A really great talker, someone who is absolutely amazing on the mic and can also do power moves. A very interesting mix, but definitely gets the crowd behind them because of their charisma and the way they can talk. We also created a mixture between Drake Maverick and Kevin Owens, who we called Jack Horseman. So Jack Horseman is kind of like he can perform in comedy matches, but, is a very relatable guy. You know what I mean? Like, you can see him, you could see having a beer with him, but he doesn't really have nonsense, and you can't insult this guy. He's got a big pride, you guess you could say. He's a very proud person. So though you could see yourself barbecuing with this guy in the back, having a beer over a family barbecue, you don't want to get in this guy's way, and that is Jack Horseman. We also created the mixture of Nikki Cross and Mojo Rawley, an absolutely insane wrestler with crazy good talent, very athletic, always go, 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 where we created Ted the Python Diaz. And I think that was really cool. And finally, the last two different people that we created, we mixed Dana Brooke and Eric Young to create Anastasia Leroy, a locker room leader who, over the tenure of their time in wrestling, has started to lose a little bit of respect to the mixture of Cedric Alexander and Riho, aka Tori Suzuki. Tori Suzuki, a naturally talented person who came in, everybody loves, everybody respects, everybody wants their opinion. She's great in the ring, she's great on the mic, she's very relatable, and everybody loves Tori Suzuki, creating a little bit of tension between her and Anastasia Leroy. So, there you go. We just Gim-Mixed 20 different wrestlers. We've created 10 new wrestlers, all new names. We've created kind of like new stories for them. And I think if I had to create a final, let's say, pay-per-view main event match, I will take two of the wrestlers that I created here today, and I will go with that. I think I'm a big fan of Curtis the Leprechaun Morgan, who is the mixture of Brock Lesnar and Sheamus, the very big, very strong, no-nonsense, very angry, wants to fight all the time. And we will have him in a match against... We're going to put them in a match against Tyler the Surgeon King, which is the mixture of Jimmy Havoc and Matt Jackson, the high-fly type with absolutely no regard for their safety and the safety of others. So we have basically the big, angry guy versus the young, high-fly, doesn't care guy. And they put on this amazing match where you have, of course, I can't remember any of the names, Curtis Morgan just throwing around Tyler King. But you know what? He lands, he gets up on the top rope, he evades, he misses all the different power moves. Tyler King using his speed, obviously, to get around the Leprechaun, but the Leprechaun eventually catches up to the Surgeon. to the surgeon, because the leprechaun versus the surgeon, and the leprechaun just starts beating down on the surgeon, and by the end of it leaves him a bloody pulp in the ring where he might need, get it, stitches. Curtis Morgan is your winner, the mixture of Brock Lesnar and Sheamus, just because I book Brock Lesnar just like WWE does, apparently. So there you go. Anyways, that was the first episode of Gim-Mix. I hope you guys liked it. I will do more, and we will add new, cool, different restrictions into this as well, where maybe I have to create my own names, or I can only use wrestlers who are no longer active. Maybe I can only use wrestlers from specific promotions at specific times. Maybe I can do whatever I want. Maybe I create tag teams. Maybe I create factions. Doesn't matter. This was the first episode of Gim-Mix, and a big shout out to everybody out there. Remember, if you liked this, to hit like and subscribe, leave us a rating and review. And once again, a big shout out to the Win Column Sports Network for letting me join the family. Be excited to see a whole bunch of new cool wrestling content coming here from the great province of Alberta. I can't wait to share all of that with all of you. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you all have yourself a wonderful day.